Welcome to Diversity Matters. This program is designed to highlight the diversity-related activities throughout New Hanover County Schools and the greater Wilmington region. I'm Valita Quattlebaum, Chief Communications Officer for New Hanover County Schools. And this month, we're happy to be celebrating Black History Month by honoring some of our great historically Black colleges and universities, or HBCUs. These are educational institutions in the United States that were established before the Civil Rights Act of 1964 with the intention of primarily serving African American students. Today, many HBCUs are still thriving and graduating some of the best and brightest students who go on to become excellent representatives of their schools and community. We'll speak with some of these illustrious alumni today about their HBCUs, so be sure to stay tuned, because this is going to be a very enlightening edition of Diversity Matters, and I can't wait to hear from all of our distinguished panel of guests. So don't go away, we'll be right back after this short break.
Start your day with New Hanover County Schools, The Morning Show. This Rise and Shine program will put a smile on your face and a spring in your step. Best of all, you'll start the day a little smarter. The Morning Show features an exciting 6-hour mix of exclusive features, cooking, entertainment, news, science, math, and more. New Hanover County Schools, The Morning Show, educating all viewers to achieve today and tomorrow in a global community. Only on this channel.
Welcome back to Diversity Matters. I'm Valita Quattlebaum, and this month we're celebrating Black History Month through a discussion about historically Black colleges and universities, known as HBCUs. My first guests are Ms. Diane Ginwright, who is the Vice President of the Cape Fear Chapter of North Carolina Central University, and Mr. Brian Wiley, who attended Fayetteville State University. Thank you all for being here. So tell me a little bit about yourself and your HBCU, your professional background.
Well, good morning. My name is Diane Ginwright, like you said, and I attended North Carolina Central University in Durham, North Carolina, and I'm currently the Vice President of the alumni, Cape Fear Alumni Chapter here in Wilmington. Mm-hmm. And I attended Southport High School, mm-hmm. and went to attend North Carolina Central University, where I earned my bachelor's degree in business administration. Attended the Reserve Officer Training Program there, mm-hmm. on the campus, the Air Force program. So after I earned my bachelor's degree, I joined the Air Force and served 22 years.
Oh my.
It was during that time I got my master's degree from the Boston University International Program. Mm-hmm. And while I was also in the military, I also accomplished my doctorate degree in strategic leadership. So now I'm back, kind of back home. I'm giving back to the community through collegiate community and civic activities, such as working with the NAACP and other programs in the area.
That is most excellent, Dr. Ginwright. Dr. Ginwright.
Thank you.
Mr. Wiley.
Well, good afternoon, or good day rather. My name is, like you said, Brian Wiley. Mm-hmm. I'm a 1992 graduate of Fayetteville State University. I currently serve as the chapter president of the Lower Cape Fear chapter here in Wilmington, which is actually Pender, New Hanover, and Brunswick counties. We serve alumni from those 3 counties. I've also served as past national alumni, well, second vice president of the national alumni, and president of the band alumni with FSU.
Okay.
And I'm sorry, and I currently work in Pender County as a social worker.
Excellent, excellent. So you both are obvious, great examples of how successful our schools are. You've gone on to do great things. Right. So what made you select your school, your HBCU?
Well, in my case, my sister, an older sister, attended Lincoln's Nursing School in Durham, North Carolina. Mm-hmm. So she was working at Duke University Hospital at the time that I began my undergraduate program at North Carolina Central. So and I have another older sister who attended North Carolina Central University nursing program.
Okay.
So the three of us lived together in my older sister's home, and it really saved financial, residence fees. So for me, it was like a legacy that we were all going to college, and my sisters was positioned there to house us while we went to school.
Family tradition.
Absolutely.
What about you, Brian?
Same thing, family tradition. I had a paternal aunt, that attended Fayetteville State. And I just always aspired to be like my aunt. She was an educator, and she went there, and I wanted to be just like her. And so and I remember her always talking about Fayetteville State, what it meant to her, and so that was the main reason why I chose to go to school there.
Right, that's the thing with these colleges, the legacy and the history is rich. My mom attended Bennett College, and but she always, I think, just envied and admired Spelman, and I heard about Spelman from the time I was 2 years old, so it just became a natural choice for me. So like you all, family tradition. So sometimes people say, like, when I'm from New Jersey, so when I went back to the New Jersey, New York area, they were like, why would you go to this small, tiny little school in Georgia that nobody ever heard of? Why did you all pick your HBCU? What made you, because you obviously had other choices as well, so what made you, or what did you gain by attending, you feel, your HBCU?
Well,
I'll go.
It's a lot. I know it's a lot.
For me, I wanted to go somewhere specifically where I knew I could have some type of an impact, but be a person, not a number.
That's right.
And I wanted and needed some individualized attention, because one thing I think that HBCU specialize in is nurturing students. Every student has the ability to succeed, but it takes sometimes schools like HBCUs to pull it out of kids.
That's so true, Brian.
And that was one of the main reasons I wanted to go somewhere that was small, and that when I needed help, I could get that help. And so that was my primary reason for choosing. I did not want to go to a large school where I would be lost. No offense to other HBCUs that are a lot larger.
Right.
But I had cousins to go to schools and they got lost. I mean, they only made it like a year or two.
Right.
And I wanted to go and graduate. And I knew if I was going to make it out, I had to go somewhere small where I could get a lot of attention.
Yeah, that's one thing that doesn't come out is the attrition rate.
Right.
A lot of times our students will get into these big universities, but they don't report that they're failing and they're falling by the wayside.
Right.
Yeah, there's nothing like the HBCU experience. It's unique. The opportunity to expose yourself or get involved in the Black cultural environment and really Black self-identity that you cannot find anywhere else except through the HBCU experience. And you also gain the substantive education too.
Oh yes.
So
you get a world-class education.
And so I think for my family, I think just going in, it was going to be an HBCU.
Right.
It's just a matter of which one. And I think my sister, the advantages there kind of decided that it was going to be North Carolina Central University.
Right. That was my experience. When I went to Spelman, I felt loved. I felt embraced. All the cultural activities, from the step shows to fried chicken Sundays, everything.
There you go.
I was like,
Fish Friday.
wow.
We used to have it at Fish.
Fish Friday, right? You got to get to the cab early, else they're going to run out. I mean, I just felt nurtured, and my professors knew me on campus. They would say, Miss Sellers, we missed you in class. If I said, that kind of love.
You brought out a good point about the exposure to the Black Greek fraternities and sororities. You cannot find that everywhere.
Right.
And so that's why I joined Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated. So it's a unique opportunity.
And we all are members. Brian, you are Omega Psi Phi, and I'm Delta Sigma Theta.
Right.
So yes, that's a big part of HBCUs.
And you can take that.
You can take
long
that,
term,
and still giving back to the community.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Fraternities and sororities are all about service to those communities.
Yeah, absolutely. So what about some of the challenges did you face? I know it wasn't all peaches and cream. What adversity did you face, you think, attending your school?
I don't think that the challenges at HBCU are any more different than those that student experience attending a PKI, a PWI, predominantly white institution. You have to study. You
Right.
have to learn how to manage your time, and you hope that you make wise social and academic decisions. So they're all challenges. We all face challenges and we overcome them, but I don't think they're unique per
Right.
se to the HBCU.
Right. How about you, Brian?
Well, for me, my challenge was completely different. I mean, I feel like I was quiet, getting used to staying in a dorm with a bunch of loud males and learning when was a good time to study. That was hard for me. That was like, oh my God. I mean, like, 'cause, you know, in the afternoons, you know, it tended to be loud. So I had to adjust, you know, come in from class and I'd probably like take naps and then get up when it would be quiet after 11 and study until I got sleepy again. That was one of my, I mean, getting used to living, having a roommate with a different background that may have been raised completely different from you, that had different values, and that was hard for me to get used to when I first got to FSU.
Right, right. Yeah, I think you're right. I think we faced a lot of the same challenges and then some unique challenges. I
Right.
mean, when I was there in the 80s, it was before they had everything computerized. And I remember having to wait in these long
Oh,
lines
Yes.
for the register for
Registration.
classes and that kind of thing. But I think the adversity I faced helped me be stronger as a
Oh,
person because we
definitely.
face adversity every day, don't we?
Every day.
In our
Every day.
career. So, you know, it helped me to grow
Right.
and to toughen up, I guess.
Yes.
Right. So now that we're all prestigious alumni of these great organizations, what do you think, how are we doing as far as supporting them? Supporting our schools? What can we do better?
I don't think that this is just my personal feeling, we do enough. I don't think we give back enough financially to our institutions. One of the things I know that I've recently had a conversation with our alumni directors, that we start teaching kids when they come in as freshmen to give, to have a spirit of philanthropy, to give back. And we've realized also that giving has to do with the experience that student had while they were there. If they were engaged, they had a positive experience, then they're going to give back more to the university. If they had a negative influence, they're not going to come back and they're not going to give back, unfortunately. And so we've worked hard to improve that at FSU and start teaching our students when they graduate to give back.
That's right. It's absolutely critical and crucial for our HBCUs that we all give back.
Oh, most definitely.
Yeah, I even support the ones I didn't go to. The ones my
Right.
kids go to, I send them money
Right.
to.
But I mean, just think about the fact that, you know, Bennett just came, I'm not sure if you're going to discuss, but Bennett just came off this huge campaign. But just think, what if every time an HBCU got in trouble or had financial problems, as alumni, we all joined, I mean, not alumni, but as graduates or individuals, we stood with that school and said, hey, we're not going to let that happen to this university.
Right.
We're not going to I mean, just think about all the other schools that would be open.
Right.
If we did that, I mean, that was huge to see how Bennett was able to raise that kind of money.
Right, that's a powerful thing. I'm going to get into that a little bit more, but
Okay.
right now we have to take a break. You all are amazing, and I can talk to you all day long. I know you have so much to say, and I'm sure our students that are watching and parents are learning so much from this conversation, but we will take a quick break, and then when we come back, we'll hear from more representatives from other HBCUs. So stay tuned for this very, very interesting edition of Diversity Matters.
Get connected with your school system. Your School News covers news that matters for parents, guardians, and Greater New Hanover County. Stories about preparing students for success in a changing world. Stories where students are achievers.
Internship, I had to, we pretty much made a vehicle from spare parts, and at first we made it so it just moved, and then we made it so it was an electrical vehicle.
Stories of teaching where every child yearns to learn.
Today is all about STEAM. STEAM is kind of the key word to tying art into science, technology, engineering, and math.
Your School News brings viewers more than 8 hours of school news and information, reporting on what's happening in the district, what students are learning, how the school system operates, and beyond. Your School News, only on this channel.
Welcome back to Diversity Matters. Our next guests are Reverend Clifford Barnett, who attended Livingstone College, and Jasmine Johansson, who attended my alma mater, Spelman College. So welcome back. Thank you for being here.
Thank you
I'm
for
so
having
excited.
us.
I'm so excited. Tell me a little bit about yourselves.
So,
Your background.
Yeah. Good morning. I'm Jasmine Johansson. I attended Spelman College, class of 2011. While there, I majored in economics and I minored in organization and management. And since graduating, I've worked within the corporate sector, but most of my career has been within nonprofits. So I'm originally from Boston. I've lived in Wilmington for a couple years. Prior to living in Wilmington, I served as a nonprofit director in Boston for an anti-poverty agency. And currently in Wilmington, I'm pursuing my executive MBA at Duke University, and I'm working at Smart Start of Pender County in early education.
Wow,
So-
Spelman sister. Wow.
So it's been great.
And Pastor Barnett, one of my personal heroes. Everybody knows you, but please tell my audience who you are.
Good morning. I'm again Clifford Barnett. I pastor Warner Temple Church, and I'm also honored to serve as a member of City Council. I did go to Livingston College, which is in Salisbury, North Carolina. And one of the neat things in my story is that I was actually the first person in my family to go to college.
Wow.
Awesome.
Wow. So what made you go to Livingston?
I went to Livingstone when I was in the 8th grade. I heard about Livingston College, and I just said, okay, I'm going to go there. Livingston College is owned by the AME Zion Church.
Okay.
So that was the only school I looked at.
It's a church affiliated
Yes,
school.
ma'am.
Okay. Okay. So what made you go to Spelman?
So when I was looking at colleges, like I said, I'm from Boston, and so a lot of people wanted me to stay at home because Boston is known for its colleges and universities.
Yeah, Harvard and all.
Right, exactly. And so I personally wanted to get away. I wanted to grow independently. I had known about HBCUs because we had HBCU tours that were sponsored by different churches, the Boys and Girls Club. And so a friend of mine had suggested I look at Spelman because he was looking at Morehouse. And I initially researched it because I honestly hadn't heard about Spelman. And once I saw what it stood for in terms of womanhood and leadership, academic excellence, I just knew I had to visit. So I went down to Atlanta and I visited with my mom, and as soon as I entered the gates, I just knew instantly that it was a school for me. And like you, it was the only school I applied to.
Right.
And
Yeah,
the
me
rest
too.
is history.
It is history. So Reverend Barnett, what would you say to students watching and their parents who might be wondering, why should I consider an HBCU in today's time?
I think we need to consider an HBCU in today's time because they're just as good as the other schools, number one. Number two, the culture for our children. Now, realistically, everybody will not adjust at an HBCU.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, you got to know your student,
Right.
know your child. But also, though, we're just as good. What we learned at HBCUs is that you can start there, and then from there you can go anywhere.
Right.
So she started at Spelman, now she's going to get a master's at Duke.
Right.
Okay, I got a master's from Hood, but I got a doctorate from Eastern Baptist Theological Seminary. So you can start there. The other thing I like about HBCUs is the family emphasis, and you know the students, and the teachers know you, and they really care about you. I think we need to encourage our kids to visit those schools.
I think so.
as
I
well.
wish we had more tours, and I know when I go back to homecoming,
Sure.
the feeling of love and joy and just I can't describe it, you know. And people who know you, and I graduated over 30 years ago, and I'm still, you know, such a part of that school.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that you can't find that.
Right.
And I have friends who've gone to other universities, and they told me they really envy what we have with those schools. So what about white students? We know that white students go to HBCUs
Sure.
too. And interesting thing, I talked to our superintendent, Dr. Tim Markley,
His son
and
went
he
to
went to
Winston-Salem.
Fayetteville State for his master's
wow.
degree. And he said it was fabulous. I mean, he was saying the same things we're saying. He
Sure.
said he loved it. He loved the smaller class
Right.
sizes. He loved the personal attention.
Mm-hmm.
So did you all experience people from other races or cultures?
we had a few, not many, and most of them came to our school came on athletic scholarships.
Mm-hmm.
So, but they were welcomed and they adjusted.
Right.
Adjusted.
Yeah, we definitely had some students that would come in an exchange program, and then we also had students that were there as students. And I think it's a wonderful opportunity for people of different races to come and experience what HBCUs are like. I mean, I think, like was said earlier, we're not that different in terms of education, in
Right.
terms of what most schools are like. It's just that we have a very focused attention on celebrating and cultivating young Black people. And I think people of other races can see that we're not so monolithic. I think we are so diverse, and I think that it shows people that we are so different. We come from different backgrounds, we come from different experiences, and just because our skin colors may, be similar, it doesn't mean that we are all alike. And I think for, I had white friends to come visit me at Spelman all the time, and they had an awesome
They had a
experience.
good time.
So I just think that if anything, it's such a positive reinforcement for Black people and other people experiencing that.
I think too, one of the challenges that we have is that we don't get kids on HBCU campuses.
Right, just
We need to-
visit.
We need to
Yeah.
have churches do church business. We
Yeah.
do that, but we need other churches and people to just say, hey, let me take a group of kids and take you to an HBCU basketball game or a
Right.
football game, or just let you walk around on the campus.
Right.
Because I think the idea of exposure
Right.
is what really encourages people to be a
Right,
part.
you have to experience it, I
That's
think,
right.
to,
That's right.
to just
You
to
do.
see how
To understand
fabulous
it.
it is, right? Because not
Totally.
only do you get the world-class education, but just a cultural experience
Yes.
that is just phenomenal.
It is,
Sure.
absolutely.
And we do have sporting events. I just want to mention for the public that I wrestled in college. Just I thought I'd throw that in. In case anybody want to challenge me, city council, just let them know. I wrestled
I'm
in
sure
college.
you will get some challenges, Reverend Barnett. But, yeah,
Right,
you.
but sports are
Yeah, sports is
I
great.
played
You
sports
played
as
soccer,
well.
see? Yeah.
So for those who are interested
And
in
a lot of people
pursuing-
wouldn't think that you could participate in athletics at Spelman, but you can.
You can, right.
And then we have Morehouse right across the street.
Exactly.
And so we have a partnership with them where you go to all their games and
Right.
participate.
Exactly.
Okay, so one heartbreaking thing is that some of our schools are struggling to survive.
Sure.
And so I just wanted to talk to you all about that, what we can do, what we can do more. I think it was great the way Bennett got saved.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think that number one, first of all, we need to look at different pockets of resources. Like for example, I know with Benedict, they got $1 million from High Point University, which is a school in the neighborhood.
Right.
But also I think for alumnus, we need to, number one, pay, give more money.
Right.
We also need to send students.
We do.
And we need to encourage them to go. We need
We
to,
do.
you know, when I was at Livingstone, I'd go back home to my home church. People would come up to me and hold my hand and shake my hand, and they'd put like
They
$5
put
in
money.
my
They
yeah.
sure would. They
And
do
that
that.
that
Right.
encouraged
That means so
me.
much.
And then what we do
Right.
at Warner is that we actually, whenever kids come home from college, we stand them up and we brag about them and we encourage them.
Exactly.
I've seen that on your social media,
Exactly.
and it's so positive,
Yes.
Yes.
right? Because
Yeah.
they need to know that we care, we're with you, we're going to
That's
help
right.
you get through this experience. We don't
right.
want you to drop out your sophomore
That's
year.
right.
Right.
That's
Right,
Exactly.
right. Now I did see there's a website about HBCUs, and it was saying how our administrators in the schools don't necessarily reflect. Like a lot of our administrators
Sure.
are white. Do you all have any opinion about that? Like they were saying basically, with so many of us graduating who are able to fill these positions, why aren't more of us reflected in the administration? Have you noticed any of that?
I've always said, even at a board meeting at DC Virgo just recently, I mentioned that we really want our teacher administration, our teachers, to match the population.
Right.
And the challenge that they're having across the country is that they're not getting people to come and apply for the jobs.
Right.
And the reason being is because those persons who can go other places, you know,
Right.
I can work in any place else in the world.
Oh,
you know,
right.
get that
Yeah,
degree.
we have that problem in New Hanover County
Absolutely,
schools.
and that's the
We don't have
challenge.
enough minority teachers,
Right.
especially minority male
So we
teachers.
need
Right.
help. We need help then
Right.
from alumnus who know kids are coming out of their schools and they're graduating. We need to connect them with the departments here so they can get hired.
Right.
I do think there needs to be, and I don't think it's just HBCUs. I think in public service positions, there isn't enough focus, and it's not necessarily promoted as much as career opportunities at the collegiate level. I stumbled into nonprofit, but I wasn't necessarily tailored into that direction because there wasn't a lot of public service opportunities when I would go to career fairs or recruitment fairs. So I think we can do a better job at making these type of careers purposeful for students and
Right.
showing them all the benefits that they have to them and some of the rewards that they can reap from having careers within either administration or education
Right, or
government,
nonprofit,
nonprofit,
right.
things like that, because it is something that is an issue. And I do think it's not necessarily reflective of people of color, but yet the people who we're serving are people of color. So you see that distinct difference between the leadership and the people we're serving. So
That's very true. That's very true. Any last parting words
I think last
for our
thing
parents?
is you gotta be intentional, you know, and you gotta plant the seed early. You know, parents, tell kids you are going to go to college. There's a college for you,
Right.
And just find it. There's
Right,
one
and
for
be
you.
open-minded.
And
Be
people will help you to
open-minded.
get there.
Right.
right,
You know, people will help you get there.
There's so many of us in the community
Yes, ma'am.
that want to help.
that want to help.
Right, and you all taking the time out of your busy schedules to be on this show to educate our audience. That's valuable. I appreciate you so
You wanna
much.
help.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
So we learned in this segment that HBCUs have a lot to offer students in New Hanover County schools and across the country. Our alumni support the communities in our sororities and fraternities, and we provide a great deal of support in our schools. I know we volunteer and do many more things. So I'd like to thank my guests for being with us here today on Diversity Matters.
At Boys and Girls Clubs, it's not just about trying new things.
Kitchen in my hometown.
It's not about learning the right steps or making contact.
5, 6, 7, 8.
It's not about exploring the future. It's about helping them build it. It's about taking steps to greatness, about making a connection. It's about proving every kid and teen has what it takes. It's about people in our clubs who bring out the greatness in every kid who enters our doors. It's not just about being on stage. It's about walking across it. Great futures start here, and here, and here.
I'd like to thank my guests for being with us today. New Hanover County Schools strives to improve in the area of diversity, and that's one of the reasons for this show. And viewers, thank you also for watching this episode of Diversity Matters. Feel free to call the New Hanover County Schools Public Relations Division at 910-254-4245 if you have any questions or if you have a story idea for a future episode of this show. And we'll see you again next month for a brand new edition of Diversity Matters.